Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. My guests today are from the Habitat for Humanity. I have the Executive Director, Steve Brown, along with guest Jennifer Shaw, who is the Family and Volunteer Coordinator Service for the Restore. Welcome both of you all to the show.
Hey, good morning. Glad to be here.
Well, Steve, you know what? It's a pleasure to sit down with you, and it's a pleasure to meet Jennifer for the very first time. And it's been a while since I had anyone on from Habitat, and I know there's a lot of wonderful things going on in the community, but I'm going to get you to talk about that, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Restore.
Okay.
Tell us, Steve, a little bit about Habitat for those that may not know.
Okay, there's sort of a primer thing. You got to, one thing is we get these phone calls and hey, we don't do a free house. Got to get that right out there. It's not a free house.
Wait a minute now. I thought certainly that's what
a lot of people do.
Okay.
But we build home for a homeowner that may have some financial disadvantages, but we look for ability to pay, which we check work history and credit reports and things like that. And our homeowners, successful homeowners, have to pay back a 0% interest mortgage, which is really nice. Do the math on that and see how that lowers your house payments. We have to have willingness to partner. Our families have to help build their own house. Spend 300 hours volunteer service. And the other thing is need. These folks that have not been homeowners, there has to be a need. There's danger, some health issues, overcrowding, those sort of things. So we look for need where we can pull someone out of a situation that's not great for the family.
Absolutely, and I've been a part of Habitat once upon a time, served on the board, and I know they do a number of great things, not only here in our community, Troup County, but I know that it has grown over the years. We'll talk a little bit about how it has grown over the years, but I want to ask Jennifer. Jennifer is the Family and Volunteer Service Coordinator for the Restore. Yes, welcome. First of all, I want to say welcome to LaGrange, Jennifer. I understand that you're not native to LaGrange.
No, thank you. I'm from California, but I like it here.
Okay, well, very good. And you are the Family and Volunteer Coordinator. Talk about your role there for me.
Well, I have, different capacities, part of which is to work directly with the families from the very beginning of filling out their applications all the way through, checking to make sure that they do have all of those things, the need and the willingness to partner. And once we do select a family, working with them to help build their home and making sure that all their questions are answered and, anything that they do need. On the other hand, I work one-on-one with the volunteers, and volunteers are the backbone of our group because without them, how do we get a house built?
That's right, absolutely. And I can remember some years ago, and Steve was very instrumental in it, the Jimmy Carter bill off of Jackson Street there, and that was a very exciting time for everybody involved. And I was thankful that I got an opportunity to build not in that site, but I did work at the Twin Cedars site.
Yes.
So that was a very good experience for me. Steve, talk about how Habitat has grown over the years, because the service area has expanded. Talk about that for us.
Thank you. It's dramatically expanded. we started out with there was like LaGrange Habitat and there was Greater Valley Habitat. And sometime in the 90s, those two merged and became Troup Chambers Habitat. Well, since then we've added 3 more counties. We went into Randolph County just probably 4 or 5 years ago. Got 5 houses there already. That was a great move. We were asked to come in and we jumped at the opportunity to do that, and as you can tell, when you get 5 houses in 2.5 years, that's a pretty productive area.
Yes, it is.
We were asked to come into Heard County just a couple of years ago, and happy to report we're just about to finish our first Habitat house in Heard County, and very happy to announce that this is sort of like a pre-announcement. Pretty soon we're going to announce our second Habitat house in Heard County, and the cool thing about it, fully sponsored.
Oh, very
so
good.
Everything's going to be, we're going to have all the money, the cash up front, the land, everything's going to be ready. So we're going to hit the ground flying on this project, so we're real happy to do that.
Well, very good.
A little over a year ago, we were asked by the Harris County Habitat to consider a merger with them. And on December 31st of last year, Harris County Habitat dissolved and merged into our organization, and we're happy to have them. We picked up 7 Habitat homeowners and a great tract of land that we can expand on in Harris County. So now we're up to 5 counties, and we're all contiguous together. We're one of the 5 affiliates in the United States that works in 2 different states. So we're 5 counties in 2 states, and we consider ourselves a regional affiliate.
Very good. And it's an exciting time there.
It is.
Homes there in Harris County, just kind of expanding area. And let me ask you, for you, Jennifer, what kind of I guess logistical nightmare or treasure did that pose for you?
I mean, it's kind of interesting because each different county has its own different basis, their own different kind of families, and needs. And it's interesting because I get to meet all sorts of different people. And yeah, it can be a little difficult trying to, maneuver through the different counties, but we make it work.
Absolutely. Being on the Habitat board some years ago, it helped me to understand, as Steve pointed out, the needs. It could be unsafe or various other things that people look for. Are we still seeing those things happening in these counties now, Steve, that we saw years ago?
We sure are. We had a pretty intensive night earlier this year, where we visited a number of potential applicants for our Heard County house, and not singling out Heard County, but it just happened to be our last experience. And I think in every case we observe things like black mold, electrical deficiencies, plumbing problems. I don't think we saw that much overcrowding. I think as you get maybe into more of an urban area, you'll see more overcrowding, too many people in one area. But we saw a number of issues that would affect the health, the physical health of the family, and especially the children in the homes. You don't want them exposed to things like mold, lead paint, the electricity tripping off. Absolutely. 3 or 4 times a day when you plug in a toaster or something like that. So, we want to get these families out of those situations.
Absolutely. One of your partners here is the City of LaGrange, and we welcome your partnership as well, because we definitely want to make sure that families are in safe, sanitary places to live. And Jennifer, you said a moment ago, volunteerism is the backbone of what you all do. Talk about the need for various volunteers in the various communities and what you look for in volunteers.
Well, the thing is that Habitat for Humanity needs volunteers in so many different arenas. Yes, we need people to come out and build homes. That's very important. But we also need volunteers to come into the Restore and help us out there, because without the Restore, it's really difficult to build the homes. Every day we could use somebody. And even more important, it's always great to have people that come back regularly that we can depend on and that are able to help in any way possible.
Okay, very good. And you talking about the Restore, and I know some years ago, I guess about 8 years ago now, Steve, I guess it is, the Restore opened up?
We bought the building on Halloween Day 2006,
okay.
And we started our first Restore event or sale there in February of 2007.
Okay, all right. Now, we've been talking about the Restore, and I've been to the Restore, and hopefully some of the viewing audience have been there as well. You can pick up a number of great items. And I know that people want to bring things there, but are there certain things that you all don't want to receive or just don't have the capability of dealing with, Jennifer?
Yes, mainly what we're not capable of taking care of would be clothing and baby items. And we just ask that you look for somewhere else that would be more capable of doing that. Okay,
all right, very good. And I know that I've gone in and see things from doors, windows, things of that nature, right. Steve. So do you all utilize some of those things in homes, or are those things that, how I guess, I know it's donations, but if you all wanted and needed to use some of those things in a home, is that an opportunity?
Only if those items are new.
Okay.
When we build our homes, it's just like, you hired a contractor,
okay.
Which we are, and got the house built, but we don't put any used items in the house. It's
okay.
a new house from top to bottom. And one really great thing about the Restore, and I know, you've been a board member with us, and the community needs to know this as well, is that the Restore funds our operation. We've got to the point now, because of the Restore and the great donations from folks in Troup County and our other counties, that we're pretty self-sufficient. The organization is funded, so when a donor comes up and says, we want to help sponsor a house, 100% of those funds go to that construction project. They don't go anywhere else. They don't go to pay anybody's salary or buy gas for the Restore truck or pay utilities for the Restore building. 100% goes to the project, and we're so proud to say that. And then we make enough money out of the Restore also that we're able to do some gap funding and something like maybe the plumber needs to be paid Friday, and the cash donations were low, but the Restore did well. And we had our best Restore month ever in August.
In August.
So we were so happy to have, and we needed it because we were wrapping that house up in Heard County, so we needed a big month in August, and we got it.
Well, very good. Again, I know that a number of our viewing audience perhaps have been to the Restore, And Jennifer, you were saying that you all can use volunteers. If there was someone that was listening to the program today and wanted to volunteer, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, it's very easy. You can either call the Restore directly, or you can email me, and my email is jennifertcchabitat@gmail.com.
Okay, well, very good. Hopefully you can continue to get some volunteers to come in, and the donations will continue to come in. And Steve, I got to ask the question, next question. What's the next home, or what's the next county that will receive a Habitat home?
Well, I mentioned the herd. We're not ready to do our formal announcement yet with the family and all that, but we're working on a project that we're not really sure if it's going to be in Troup County or Harris County yet, but we think it's going to be in right around West Point, and we're working on that. So we got 2 new ones there to go, and we're chomping at the bit to do that. And we're ready to. It's time to do another one in LaGrange, in the city.
It has been a while, hasn't it?
It has. So we've been expanding, but we know where our base is, and we appreciate the support we get from LaGrange and Troup County for sure.
Well, very good. And you were talking about the support, and I know that Habitat and Restore can't do this alone. You mentioned some of your partners. Go ahead if you just wanted to mention a few of your partners, Steve, if you don't mind.
On LaGrange College football team, let me mention them. The last, I think, 6 houses or 7 houses, they put all the walls and trusses up. And they come out on there when they're having their spring camp. Coach Mooney brings them out and away they go. And this year, we even took them a step further, as they put all the cement board siding up on our Heard County house. And they did a great job. Got it all up in a day. And that was a little more technical than what they had done in the past, but they did well. LaGrange First Presbyterian is a go-to church. Dallas Dodd Presbyterian is a new partner with us, and we're very excited to have them working with us. Charter Bank, need to mention them. They service our mortgages. And our homeowners, once they get a mortgage, it goes into the charter system. They book the mortgage. They send the statements out every month with the balances, and they take care of they collect the escrow and pay the taxes and insurance. And that is so invaluable. I mean, it would be like a full-time person to look after 70 or 80 mortgages and all that sort of thing. So we really appreciate them so much. And the city. The city, anytime we do a project in LaGrange, the city's right there, whether it's a rehab or we got to clean something up for somebody, or maybe tear something, get something torn down and make an improvement. The city's always there to help and advise, and we appreciate that.
Well, thank you too, Steve. We appreciate all the hard work that both you and Jennifer do in our communities, making sure that families are in decent sanitary homes and places to live. So I want to thank both of you all for coming on the show today and sharing this information with us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Glad to have the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back for more City Week in just a moment. Welcome back to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. My guest now is from Harmony House. I have the Executive Director, Michelle Benningfield. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alton.
Well, it's a pleasure to sit down with you as well, and I don't know that I've had you on in quite some time either.
No. It's been even since I've seen you.
It has been a while, so we have a lot to talk about, right? Well, let's jump in and talk about some things that you all have going on. But first of all, I know that a lot of the viewing audience may have heard of Harmony House.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about Harmony House and what is your main purpose and goal, Michelle?
Okay. We are a domestic violence shelter. So we have 2 wonderful women's shelters here in LaGrange. One is Harmony House and the other is Emmaus House. We focus on domestic violence. Our main concern is their safety and keeping everything confidential. Emmaus House does a great job, but they work with women that are homeless. And sometimes Kay, Elam, and I'll swap paths. I'll call her and say, I have one for you, and she'll call me and say, I've got one over here that needs to come there. And so it's a great collaboration. But our focus is their safety.
Right.
We take in women that are in abusive relationships. And let me also say that we also assist men. We do recognize that men are being abused. But the sheltering is a little bit different. But we provide all the services for men as we do for women, just in a different capacity. Very
good. And that's new for me. I didn't realize that you all accommodate men as well.
We had 9 last year.
Oh my,
yeah,
okay.
So.
Let me ask you a question, Michelle, and not to put you on the spot, but do you see in our society, and particularly in LaGrange, do you see that the abusiveness have gotten worse, or is it getting better?
I've seen it kind of sustaining.
Okay.
It's not getting better or worse, which I guess is a good and bad. The state of Georgia as a whole, we used to be 15th in the nation, and now we're in the top 10. So of men killing women in violence. So as a state, we've become worse.
Can become worse.
Yeah.
So we still got a lot of work to do, is
We
what
do.
you're saying. Absolutely.
do.
Let me ask you, and leading into that, can you just, I know you can't disclose any information particulars, but can
Right.
you just kind of give an overview of a situation that you have been having encountered?
Yeah. A lot of times we get referrals from the hospital. We can get them from DFACs. We can get self-referrals, friends, schools. So individuals can come to us from any capacity or any location. Once they come in to us, we're going to take care of their immediate needs, whether there's injuries. We've had women that come in that need wheelchairs and crutches, and we're going to take care of those. We also need some that just need to sleep and to rest. Sometimes the abuse they receive is lack of sleep. They don't allow, the partner doesn't allow them to sleep, keeps them awake for extended periods of time. So it's just to sleep and rest and catch their breath. Once they come in, they're going to meet with our family coordinator, and she will sit down with them and find out what they want to do. For some women, it might be, you know what, I moved down here with him, his family's here, I've been isolated from my family back in Tennessee or New York or wherever. I just want to go back home. And so for those women, it might just be finding a safe way to get them back to where they want to be. For other women, it could be, I'm tired of running. I'm tired of fighting. This has got to stop. I don't want to live like this anymore. And then we're going to take a path and figure out what it is that we need to do to get them safe. And that could be anywhere from helping them to file a protective order and then starting divorce proceedings to having the kids or the adults get into counseling, work on some counseling. Some of them just want to find a church to attend, find out what kind of church they're interested in. Others want to go back to school. We're going to help them get back into school. So whatever it's going to take to help them get where they want to be.
Yeah, it seems like it's such a wide array of services that you provide there and needs, it sounds like.
There is.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. And let me ask you about your staff too. Talk a little bit about your staff and how you're able to do the things that you do, Michelle.
Gosh, I couldn't do what I do without them.
Okay.
They are absolutely amazing. They're the backbone behind everything we do. I'm one of 11. We have 6 that are full-time, 1 that is a kind of a as needed, and then the other 4 work on a regular basis. I can't say enough good about them. They're hardworking, dedicated, and dependable. But the way it breaks down is I have 1 that completely runs the shelter. She keeps it safe. She makes sure that the electricity is there. She watches my food bill. I can tell you more about our food in a second. We talk about donations.
We'll talk about that.
But she makes sure that everything's running the way it should.
Okay.
And then I have 2 individuals, Amanda and Beverly, and they work with the residents straight on. They work their case management. They make sure all their needs are being met. And then I have the shelter staff, and they work just to make sure all the gaps are filled in. We are 24 hours a day, so operational cost is a big one. But it's important to me that we have an awake, alert, well-trained staff 24 hours a day.
Very good. And you're talking about your staff, and then we're talking about your food cost. If someone was watching the program and they were like, oh my God, what can I do to help out? And you're talking about food, and I know if you're talking about 24 hours and the number of cases that you all accommodate, how can people get involved, Michelle?
Yeah. One of our biggest needs, obviously, is the financial need. Okay. It costs us about $1,000 a day to maintain operation. And that's everything from the light bill to staff. But one of our biggest expenses is client services. As I said a while ago, buying a bus ticket back home, getting someone enrolled in school, paying for testings and uniforms once they get a job, things like that, legal services. So financial is always a need. Okay. Other needs that we have are food. Our food budget is, are you ready for this? All right, we have 14 beds. Our food budget's $6,000 a year. So if you break that down, that's about $500 a month for 14 beds. I can't feed my own family on $500 a month.
Right.
But Charlene, my shelter coordinator, does an amazing job going to the grocery store once a week, buying food on $200. But she's able to do it because of the community, because of food drives. We have people that do canned food drives, pasta drives, boxed food, cereal drives, just food.
Just food of any kind.
Yes.
The non-perishable items sounds like they're doing drives for. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
We've had some churches that'll do casserole drives. If they want to cook a casserole, and we'll bring it in, we'll freeze it, and that way it's already in the freezer ready to pull out for dinner that night.
Okay. So if there was a church or someone that was watching and they heard you mentioned those various types drives and they were interested in doing one, is there a number that they could call and contact you or one of the staff members and say, hey, look, I'm interested in doing this?
Yes, call Charlene,
Okay.
and that's 706-885-1526.
Okay, well, very good. And also, you were telling me before we came on that someone may want to get involved in. You have old cell phones and things of that nature.
Yep.
Is that something people can help out with?
That's one of my favorite drives because a lot of times people can't give financially. I told you the budget, $1,000 a day, but that's people can't give money. But most people have a cell phone laying around somewhere that they've either upgraded or two.
That's
check the
right.
nightstand, check the
That's
top
right.
drawer of your dresser. But cell phones, if they can find a cell phone around the house, we collect cell phones and we turn them into a company that we partner with called Shelter Alliance that focuses primarily on domestic violence, and then they give us a check back. We can average $400 to $500 a quarter on that, and that's not without even promoting it. So I know if I were to go out and just say, hey, will you do a cell phone drive for me? I would love to see that number increase.
Absolutely. So there's so many ways that the general public can get involved. The food drives, the old cell phone drive, things of that nature. And all of this is leading up, I know that coming up in October,
Yeah.
which is a special month for you all, that's Domestic Violence Month. Talk about that and some of the activities that you all have planned, Michelle.
All right. One of the things we have that's most important and exciting to me is the October 22nd at 6:30 up on the square. We're going to have a candlelight vigil. The point of the vigil is to kind of remember all the people across the state that have lost their lives to domestic violence. There was someone up in Gwinnett County that was 80 years old. There's been someone in Fulton County that was 5. So domestic violence does not discriminate against age, race, religion, occupation, economics. Men, women, and children across the state are losing their lives every year. And so it's a time to remember those. We're going to read off all those names. But it's also a time to celebrate those that have been able to survive. 1 out of 4 women are living with domestic violence. 1 out of 6 men know of someone that's being abused. And it's just a time to celebrate and remember those that are able to survive and to get out.
Absolutely.
So we're going to have a wonderful speaker there named Valerie Williams, and we've got some music planned. And it's just going to be a time to take a deep breath and realize that unfortunately, this is an ugly part of our reality that we want to end.
Absolutely, and that's going to be October 22nd up on the square, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. You when you talk about domestic violence and the lives that it impacts and the severity of it, sometimes people don't think about the repercussions and the rippling effect that it sends throughout the family.
Right.
You have 2 individuals that for some reason or other can't get along.
Right.
And then escalates to other things. And before we came on, you were talking a little bit about and telling me, you said that some of the reasoning why a person stayed, they say it's not that bad. Expound on that for me a little bit, Michelle.
When I first started working for Harmony House, and I'll be honest with you, I said, my husband, I would be gone. There is no way I would stay in a relationship being abused.
Right.
I so get it now. I mean, Harmony House, I've been there almost 6 years, and I get it. I understand why they stay. A lot of it's safety. They know that if I leave right now, something terrible could happen to me, something could happen to my kids. So it's safer for me to stay in this home right now where I am and walk on eggshells. What Harmony House wants to do is to find a way to safely allow that person to leave. Other women stay because of the financial situation. They're financially strapped. They can't make it on their own. They may have low education. Their self-esteem has been pushed down and pushed down and pushed down so far that it's hard to think that you could have a life without this. But they can. And that's where Harmony House wants to come in and step up and say, you are absolutely beautiful and worth, taking a deep breath.
Absolutely.
And finding that freedom and surviving. But the effect on the kids too. A lot of times the abuse happens behind a closed door or when the kids aren't there, but the kids know. And the effects of domestic violence on children is detrimental.
Absolutely. Well, Michelle, I'm going to tell you, you have a great, tough job, it sounds like.
is very rewarding, though.
Very rewarding,
It
very
is.
rewarding. Well, we definitely want to thank you for coming on, and definitely want to make sure that the viewing audience hear those things that you talked about that they could do to get involved, the food drives, the cell phone drive, things of that nature, and more so to come out to the Candlelight Vigil on
Yeah.
October the 22nd. Thank you, Michelle, for coming on and
Thank
sharing
you,
this
Alton.
information with us, okay?
It's been nice to see you.
Well, good to see you as well. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're back for more City Week in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for City Week this week. My guests have been from Habitat for Humanity, Executive Director Steve Brown, and also along with Jennifer Shaw, the Family and Volunteer Services Coordinator, as they talked about how Habitat has grown. So make sure you go out and visit the Restore, and by all means, bring some donations along with you. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Also, I had on from Harmony House, the Executive Director, Michelle Benningfield, as she talked about upcoming October 22nd and Domestic Violence Month. So ladies and gentlemen, let's come out and support this very worthwhile cause. And don't forget how you can get involved with her organization as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed those interviews. And as always, I'm going to invite you back for more of City Week.